Hey, what's up guys? It is your girl, Coach LeighAnn, down here at AM Fitness in Plainville. Today, I am bringing you another video in our barefoot training series. What we're gonna talk about today is foot type. So there's 3 types of feet that we're gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about the neutral foot, we're gonna talk about the inverted foot, and we're also going to talk about the everted foot. And then we're going to talk about what each one of those foot types kind of means in terms of general foot health and what you can do to make your foot better, because what we are aiming for is the neutral foot type. And if you have that foot type, it's great. And if we don't, then we need to try to get ourselves there as best that we possibly can. So I'm going to show you how to figure out which foot type that you have. And then after that, I'm going to show you what it is that you should do depending on what kind of foot type you have. So stick around.
All right, guys, so this test that we're going to do to figure out what our foot type is, we're going to observe from the back. So this is how we're going to figure out what the kind of foot position that we have is. So the 2 foot positions that we're going to talk about most are the incorrect ones. So when we talk about having an inverted foot position, we're kind of talking about having the arch of the foot usually being kind of higher. We're usually walking more on the outside of our feet. You may be somebody who wears out the outside of the heel of your shoe a little bit quicker. This is typically what we would consider to be an inverted foot type. Now, if we're talking about an everted foot type, now because it's not my foot type, I have to get there kind of incorrectly, but typically what we see in an everted foot is someone whose arch collapses, who spends a lot of time walking on the inside of their heels. And then a neutral position is between the two, where there's neither the inversion or the eversion, somewhere right in between the two. Now, my feet tend to be a little bit more inverted, so this is not a true neutral position, but it's better than the excessive inversion versus the excessive eversion. So the goal for us is to try to get to this nice neutral position. So I'm going to show you how to do that, so stick around.
All right, guys, so we just talked about an inverted versus an everted foot, and then also the neutral position that we aim to get to. So hopefully you have done the test and you've figured out whether you're more of an inverted versus an everted foot type. The reason that we want to figure this out is because we want to be able to avoid any potential injuries. So in looking again at my foot, so I have kind of a very high arch here, so it's kind of another indicator for me that I have kind of an inverted foot type. But when we look at someone who has more of like an everted foot type where the arch collapses, people who have an everted foot type can very frequently wind up having plantar fasciitis. So if you are someone with a flatter foot, with a more everted foot type, it's something that we really want to make sure that we fix, because if you have plantar fasciitis already, then we definitely want to make sure that we're working on that. And if you don't already, we want to make sure that we avoid it. So regardless of whether or not you have plantar fasciitis, you're still going to do the same treatment. If you have it, this is hopefully going to help you feel better from it. So we'll start off with the inverted foot type. So that's the one that I have, where we kind of have that high arch where we're sitting more on the outside of our feet. What we actually want to do is grab a lacrosse ball, or even a golf ball if you have one. I don't happen to have one on me, but the smaller, more solid objects are much, much better. We're definitely not going to use a foam roller for this. It's way too big. This smaller, more dense object that has less surface area is going to allow me to find those places a little bit better. So there is a more in-depth video that you can watch on rolling out the bottom of the feet, but just to reiterate for you, we want to kind of find those tough spots, and we want to stand on them, and we want to move around from place to place. We want to spend maybe 30 seconds or so on each solid point. So the reason that we want to do this for an inverted foot type is because an inverted foot tends to be a lot stiffer. So the muscle that we're working on, especially, it's called the abductor hallucis, it's the arch of the foot essentially, is very stiff. So we want to make sure that we're rolling the foot out so that we get rid of some of that stiffness in the foot, so that we have a little bit more mobility to work with. For someone with an everted foot type, that foot tends to be, it has plenty of mobility, it's already pretty loose, so we actually don't necessarily need to roll that foot type. We actually want to strengthen that foot type. So we may not even roll an everted foot at all, depending upon how much eversion you have. So in order to fix an everted foot type, we can start to build a little bit more of an arch. So as we do more and more activation for the foot, we can build more strength in that abductor hallucis and hopefully gain more of an arch. It's not necessarily going to get to the point where your here, but it's to aid you in getting better. Now, someone who's structurally, if your bone structure is a flat foot, that's different. Unfortunately, we can't fix that, but someone who's just flat-footed because the muscle is so relaxed, we can build strength in it and we can make that better. So there's also a video on how to perform short foot, but that's exactly what we're going to do here. So just a quick reminder for you on how to perform short foot. We start with our feet underneath us. We pull one foot back, so the toe and the heel are next to each other. I have both heels on the ground. I'm going to soften up the front leg, so I'm currently working on the left leg, so that means my left knee is bent. I'm going to create my tripod so that I have 3 points of contact with the ground, the first and fifth metatarsal head right underneath the toes, and then my heel. And then from there, toes are all spread out, and now from there, I just push the toe into the ground as hard as I can. I would hold that for probably about 10 seconds or so, and then I would relax the foot. I don't need to recreate my tripod. I just push the toe into the ground again, and then I relax. So you may or may not be able to see it on the camera, but every time I push my toe into the ground, the arch tends to rise. Just make sure that when we're doing this, we're focusing more on pushing into the ground as opposed to scrunching our toes. The toe scrunch is a different exercise, and it's not the best way for us to activate the abductor hallucis, and there are other reasons behind it, but for this particular, the purposes of this video, if you will, we just want to work on activating our short foot. So we start with both of those things, and I will bring you more content in the future about other things that we can do to fix an inverted and an everted foot, but these are the basic things. We need to start with these first. I would do these on a daily basis, especially if you're rolling your feet. I would do that every morning and every evening, definitely before and after a workout. If we're working on short foot activation, that we can also do before and after, before a workout and morning and evening. It kind of depends on how much strength we really need to build in the foot. So get yourself working on that stuff, and if you're not really sure what foot type that you have, ask any one of your coaches, and we will help you out.